Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus here. I want to share a message with you, but my microphone probably is going to run out. And if it does, I hope I can see it because then I can make an adjustment. But what I really wanted to say to you is this, is that as spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, and that's dealing with human beings on the face of the earth, being put here by a power outside of yourselves and being prepared for. It's a message that's been missing for quite some time, and I've been given the opportunity to have learned that message, and now the responsibility of sharing it with you. And I want to just jump to it. I'm not going to try to go through all the scriptures and stuff like this. I just want to tell you, take the moment when can remember the first experience that I had with God, maybe in a kid going to Bible study, all the way through up until this very day. The scriptures that I've studied, the scriptures that I've heard people talk about, everything, put it together. And this is a message that I have. And that is this: God exists. God is responsible for everything, especially something that we can identify, the earth. We know we had nothing to do with it. And all that the earth is, there's a power outside of us that's responsible for that. And all of the resources that are on this earth to avail themselves for whatever humankind, I guess others as well, might need, want, or desire of them. And that we as human beings put on this earth with common desires and needs and wants, and we've determined what it is that we absolutely need to survive. And utilizing the resources that have been given to us to provide for that, we've done that. And so, to make a long story short, just in case I have a video problem, is that the whole purpose of human life on earth first really is to create. It wasn't necessarily to learn how to fight against evil. No. I mean, that could have been a part after evil created itself, established itself. But the point was to create, to be here on this earth, to love one another, to treat others as we want to be treated. And in the process of doing that, glorifying God by allowing God to live within us and let that love of God that's in us be exhibited throughout us to one another. And that is a way of observing what God has given us as a responsibility to create paradise on earth, or I will be done on earth, or to create the promised land. All of this and the way that God has designed it so we can do that is each of us on earth who, and all of us here to play a role in life, we determine what it is that we love. Out of all the things that can be done on this earth that's already existing or that new that you're bringing into existence, all that it is, you choose that which you love. And having chosen that which we love, God would have no other way but for us to love what we do. But you want to do anything you don't love doing. But there's a lesson that comes from that, and that is to receive joy. The love and joy put together is our motivation for life itself. And what God has done to change is the things that we do. It provides for the creation and causing a manifestation of those things that we determine are essential, whether it's food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare, transportation, infrastructure, or in fact anything that's made by the hands of man. It is human beings taking what God has given them through imagination, et cetera, utilizing our gifts in love by by working on a career. And in that career, knowing that we've received it because joy comes from it. And then we take that and create our heaven on earth. We take that, we create paradise, we create uh, what is it? Promised land. All of this happens just because we're doing things right. Now, you take that, contrast that. It's what God put us here to do, even from the beginning of time. But, like they say, they were deceived in the garden. Someone spoke to them. But all of that is the world that we've been living in. Nothing that I just got to share with you. That's the world we were supposed to be living in. But instead, a deceiver came along and changed the plan. And rather than allow God to be God, the invisible God, since they couldn't see God, they decided they were going to become God. And they were going to do everything. They were going to cause us, tell us what to do. They were going to make sure that we do this. Now, out of whatever they did, they created a whole bunch of hate, racism, bigotry, lying, cheating, and you name it. All the stuff that's evil, the wars and death, all that stuff comes from people trying to say they got something going and don't have anything going. So when we look at Jesus, let me bring Jesus on in here. Jesus came here to live in this hell that we live in and to glorify the Father, to lift up not the world's way, even though certain things were necessary, food, clothing, shelter, education, all that kind of stuff is necessary. So, but he invited not that, but how you do it is what he came to emphasize and to free us from the bondage of that kind of stuff. So he was telling us to do the right things in life, to do the right things in life, to honor God like that, and to honor God and be connected in such a way like that, then you would have special powers from God, like laying hands on the sick and they recover. Other things, you might even be able to walk on water. But that comes from the relationship that you have with God. You don't have that kind of relationship, you won't be able to do that. But Jesus, nonetheless, was telling us that you can have that relationship. And that, in other ways, he's asking us to have that relationship and live against this world. Don't be a part of it. Do not bend under any circumstances. Whatever persecution comes from not bending, take it, but graciously. Now, you know, we got people in the world, they say they got all this stuff fixed up. So even God, you got to obey the law. You got to go along with the system. They don't even care. Communism, racism, bigotry, hell, everything. It's the system that the Bible tell you, according to their teaching, is that you got to go along with it because you got to obey those that got rule over you. But they haven't been born again. Their minds have not been renewed. And so they now somebody told them that if they follow Jesus, because Jesus came straight through and told me it wasn't nothing. Told me it was over. It was over, and it's over for us when we discover the truth and walk according to that truth. Got the receipts. That's what Jesus was telling you. And it will perhaps. And in fact, look forward to it. Especially if the world is still messed up like this, to go under the cross. But I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about that cross thing. You know, people who put Jesus, you know how they say they made everything white. When they put Jesus on the cross, they put Jesus on the cross reflecting what they themselves would feel had they been on the cross. On the cross, being nailed up, thorns on their head, they'd be looking low down, bleeding. But that's not the way Jesus was. You heard the story about Meshach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those guys weren't all crying and scared. Daniel and the lion den wasn't crying and scared. Hey, these were places that they were glad to be if it was giving God the glory. And there's no better place than to be is on the cross, standing up for what's right for all people, standing up for what's right against the whole evil world. Standing up right there, you think you're going to be able to hold your head down? No, you're not. You're going to be up there as joyous as you can possibly be. And I tell you that because I learned it. I've learned that when you stand up for what's right, they can't hurt you. It might look like it to others, but it ain't hurting you. God protects you from that kind of stuff. So what Jesus on that cross, whether it's true or not, and the message, the story, what is exemplifying is that love and doing right and loving God is so fantastic till it's telling all the world this is how great God is. This is how I stand up and do and represent God. Not only do I walk on water, not only do I lay hands on the sick, I go up on the cross and I can raise my hand up and prove it to you. Rise from the dead. Because really God got it. And that's all they tell you when you're free. Now, how many people knew that? How many people could know that and be bound by Trump or bound by Putin or bound by any man because he had a gun threatening to kill you? Ain't nowhere in the world you'd be bound by that. So that's the message that the whole Bible is trying to tell you in its righteousness, in its righteous form. That's what it's trying to tell you. So I've taken a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a little confusing by the way I said it, but I wanted to make sure that I got something out at least that might cause you to want to check some other videos or ask some questions or just because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's truly a fantastic thing to be born again, to renew your mind. You wanted the cars and everything that was fantastic over here on this life outside of God, you still want a car. That's how you travel. You still want to do, but you want to do more things and better things and great things. But you don't want to do it according to the dictates of lying, cheating, stealing, and crookdom. You want to do it according to love. And God got it set up that way that is that for everybody. Cause no pain and suffering. So I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this your time. And until next time, I'd say goodbye for now.